any time at all in the dental industry, meaning if you've paid at least 10% of attention over the last 3 days, you know that the dental industry is changing rapidly. There's changes in technology, new things that we can use in our practices and the practices we consult with. There's changes in procedures and new techniques that we can use to make sure that we're providing the best patient care. We've talked about all these changes, but we haven't talked about the one thing that hasn't changed in dentistry. It's the one reason that each of us are here today. It's because at some point in our life, we realized that people are precious. That word precious is a powerful and profound word that we don't often use, but it's this idea that we want someone to be better off having known us, having met us, than they were before, right? We heard the story with Katrina's mother, right? They realized that Katrina's mother, Katrina's family, was precious. And what you find out is if you treat everyone that walks through the door of your practice, whether it's your Henry Schein rep, whether it's your UPS man, whether it's a patient, whether it's a team member, if anyone that walks through your door, you treat them as a precious individual and create an experience worth sharing for that individual, they're going to have the best experience in your practice, right? Because your team's happiness and your culture is inextricably linked with patient experience. I was recently in LA for a dinner, and the dinner was on a Thursday night, but I had to be back in Raleigh-Durham on the other side of the country Friday morning for an award ceremony. Now, we're all road warriors here, and so we know exactly how the story is going to go, right? So the only flight that was available was one connecting through Atlanta, and if you ever have to make a connection on a time-bound situation, don't have a connecting flight. I didn't have a choice. So I went to this dinner, ran to the airport, ran to LAX, got on my plane, sat down, fell asleep before we even took off, which is always good on a red eye, right? And we're flying over somewhere over the southeast, and I'm awoken to the captain saying,
"Ladies and gentlemen, due to ground traffic control delays at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, we'll be circling for the next 20 to 30 minutes. But please, sit back, relax, and enjoy the remainder of your flight."
I didn't sit back, I didn't relax, and I did what only a millennial knows how to do. I pulled out my cell phone. And in 140 characters, I desperately pleaded on Twitter to Delta, help me make my connection, because I'd figured that I was landing in E, and if you're familiar with Atlanta, I had to go to A, and I had 5 minutes. And I'm not a runner. Just like you, Dino, I get it, I'm not a runner. So as soon as that plane hit the ground, I threw on my sport coat, and I put on my backpack, and I unbuttoned my seatbelt. Of course, we were safe at the gate, maybe. And I rushed up, and I was standing at that door as soon as I could. And then that door opened, and I froze. Because standing on the outside of that door was a woman dressed in all black with black sunglasses and my name on a sign. So you have one of these pivotal moments in life. I know that my cellular service may have been on to send that tweet, and I sent a desperate tweet of help from a moving aircraft. I'm like, oh no. So do I admit who I am, or do I keep walking and pretend she doesn't know who I am? I did the right thing, and I admitted who I am. I said, I'm Ryan. And she said, sir? And I swear that's how she sounded. She said, sir, come with me. And instead of taking me up into the airport, where I should have been going, she took me down that door that says, do not enter. Violators will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of law. Lifetime in federal prison. So I walk down, and we go to the bottom of this staircase, right? And I'm standing there, and I'm like, how am I going to explain this to my wife? I didn't even remember the award ceremony at that point. And then she turned to me again, and her voice sounded a little different. She's like, sir, I realize you have to make it to an award ceremony. And I was like, how'd you know that? There in front of me was a Porsche Cayenne, and she put me in that car, drove me to my next plane, and put me on my plane and put me in that seat, right? Now, Delta has over 20 million passengers that travel with them every year. If you took just 1/100th of a penny from every one of those tickets, you could have 1 million Porsches and an army of individuals doing that. But what Delta realized was something critical. They took an ordinary opportunity that we've all experienced, right? All of us have experienced that at some point. They took that ordinary opportunity and transformed it into an extraordinary experience. Why? Because they knew that people are precious and that people matter. We have that same opportunity every single day with everybody that we meet, right? We have ordinary opportunities, whether it's saying hi and saying, how are you awesome? And we can transform every opportunity we have into an extraordinary experience. We can do that so our teams are happy and they go home and tell their friends and family that they absolutely love where they work. And those patients are going to go tell their neighbors and coworkers that they've experienced the best office ever and they love the dentist. It's all because we can realize that people are precious. And when we realize that people are precious, we can create experiences that are worth sharing. Thank you.